Alright guys, I'm going to do a short little intro to this video. Due to a technical fuck up on my part, the video of me didn't get recorded, so apologize for that, but on the bright side, you won't be subjected to this mug for the full hour, so enjoy. So, Jake Kalich, welcome to Midnight Chow.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Hey,
Stoked
no
to be here. Good to see you.
Break it down for me. What got you into the Army, and you know?
I'm originally from Monterey Bay, California. My name's Jake Kalich. So I'm first class retired. 13 Fox 40. So originally from California. It's where I born and raised. Never left California until I joined the Army. Reason I joined the Army is because I wasn't going anywhere. I was basically dropped out of college, joined the Army. Just to get out of there, just to do something. My friends were kind of going to jail, or they're going off to college, So I knew I had to get away to succeed, If I stayed there, I definitely would get into trouble. So off I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. That's where I did my basic and AIT. Yep. And then from there, I went to Korea. And when I first signed up, I didn't know I was signing up for 13 Fox. I didn't know what it was. I wanted to be in the infantry, but I only wanted a 2-year contract. So they weren't giving 2-year contracts out to 11 series. So they kind of picked it for me, based on ASVAB tests, right? So my field artillery was my highest. In my GT score. I know you scored pretty high on your GT score. I think it was probably one of the higher ones I've seen.
I only missed one question on the test.
Yeah. Mine, I took it kind of half-cocked. I didn't give a shit. I didn't know what it was. Like, I didn't realize that it was like a test to tell you what job you're going to be. My recruiter did a shitty job at telling me the seriousness of it and what could happen, the outcomes of the test. So I took it kind of like the mechanical stuff. I was like, what the fuck? It was like, what is this, and which way
the
is
levers and pulleys.
I'm like, I don't fucking know. Yeah. I'm like, whatever, next, A, B, C, whatever. But I did all right, because the test is very, very easy. So they picked 13 Fox for me, and I'm totally stoked that that was the job I got, because definitely the job for me. I went to Korea, and that's a short tour, a year tour, and I re-enlisted over there. So right when my year was up, I had eligibility to re-enlist. So like right when I got to Korea, I was eligible to re-enlist basically, and I re-enlisted for Fort Lewis, Washington. And the reason I did that was because my brother was living up there. So it was like being home. I couldn't go back to the Bay because Fort Ord, California wasn't I didn't have any fighters there. I didn't have an infantry brigade. So closest I could get to home, was Fort Lewis, Washington. So I got to go there, and that's where I met my wife. Met her at a casino. I was in the 25th Infantry over there. 1st Brigade, 25th Infantry Lancers. I went down to an infantry battalion, 3rd Battalion, 21st Infantry, and we deployed to Mosul. So that was my first deployment, was to Mosul, Iraq, as a company fire support NCO. But with the terrain there in Mosul is kind of fast, out in the desert. So we got to do our jobs, when we got in a decent sized fight. You got to employ your mortars and all that stuff. And it was
what exactly
way in the open,
Yeah. What break down what a 13 Fox does for you at the NCO level.
So at the NCO level, everyone's a forward observer. Starting at the platoon level, you have a forward observer who is his job at the platoon level to coordinate fire support assets. So that's your company mortars that you have, any battalion assets you might have Those are in the form of mortars as well. But then you'll also get assets sent down in the form of close air support, like A-10s, the best, right? Or you'll get some fighters, some F-14s or 16s. In Iraq, you would get anything, the whole gamut. You'd also sometimes get bomber on, which is crazy because they aren't the best for a cast platform, but it has a bunch of ordnance, which is cool. But if you're out in Iraq or, urban area, you're not going to be able to use that asset very well. And that's what kind of we ran into in Iraq. You had all this firepower, but you were in these urban areas where you couldn't really use them. So your platoon forward observer, he goes around with a infantry platoon of like 30, 40 dudes. And that's his job. He's on the radio coordinating those assets when they're needed. But he's always a rifleman first. So when you're on the ground and you're kicking in doors, that's what you're doing. And then just situational awareness that you have because you're on a radio all the time to your higher. It just gives you that that connectivity that you have from a guy that's in an infantry platoon that's not an infantry guy, that's giving you information up to your company level. And he's talking to that company fire support NCO, who's, at the time that was me for my first deployment. So I had FOs in every platoon telling me what's going on. So a lot of times you have your commander in your ear asking you what's going on because you're getting that information firsthand from your guy on the ground. But it can get really boring. So some of your FOs end up doing, rifleman type tasks, a lot of guard, which is fine. Your FO should be on guard. That's I would want my guy on guard. I would want my guy watching the radios, because he's good at communications, right? So he's going to be good on the radio. But I wouldn't put him on the assaulting force when you have a support by fire, let's say. And I've seen that, and I've seen that in combat. And one of my guys got injured. Actually, it was 361. Yeah, it's your fucking company too, your troop.
Who was it?
Fucking Reevy, man. Remember Reevy? Oh, that was the second tour. Okay, second Afghanistan. Right?
So
second Afghanistan?
You went back to Afghanistan after 361?
Yep.
Okay.
I deployed brigade. Yeah, as a brigade fire support NCO. Or actually, I was the effects, what they call it, the effects NCO or whatever. So I went back to Afghanistan, and Bravo troop, dude was walking with he was in the back of the formation walking through on a dismounted patrol. They had a support by fire set up, and he got stabbed in the back of the head by a guy with a sickle. It was like a young kid with a sickle. And he turns around, and his RTO is the one that said, dude, you got a fucking sickle sitting out of your head. And just and then they're like, medic, where's the medic? He's on the support by fire. What the fuck, dude?
Right. Damn.
If the dude's gonna get hit, he's gonna get hit on the assaulting force or the patrol, not support by fire. Why would you have your medic on the support by fire and your FO on the ground? What the fuck are you doing? And you have your FO and your RTO, and you have them both there, and that was just one of those things where, your dude gets hit, and you're like, hey, platoon sergeant, what the fuck are you doing? And then the platoon sergeant says, oh, I'm running my shit how I want to. Well, you're fucking it up, dude, and I'll take your dudes. Right. I will take your dudes from you because I don't want them getting stabbed. You let one of my guys get stabbed in the back of the fucking head,
Yeah. Well,
it's like putting your medic at the back of the formation, on rear guard. What the fuck are you doing, Oh, yeah. Why is your FO there?
Whenever I was on foot patrol, I was always around the LT and the medic most of the time. Unless, shit kicked off and everybody got separated or something. But.
Then, you need to go where you need to go. But when you're cruising around, it's like having your FO on point. What are you doing? You just lose that asset once he gets hit, So just, Cav, too, they're working with a lot less guys. And maybe that guy's more capable than his guy. And I get that. But he shouldn't be the guy. You should, either train that dude or fire him, whatever. Anyways, so first deployment, company fire support NCO Mosul. I got to do my job. I got to employ mortars. I got to shoot artillery. I got to control close combat attacks from helicopters, right? We had Kiowa Warriors and Apaches, and they roll around in teams. One Apache, one Kiowa Warrior. Kiowa Warrior would be doing nap of the earth, jam down. The Kiowa Warrior would be, or the Apache would be up high, shooting down on, getting, targets painted by the Kiowa. So it was pretty cool working with those dudes and seeing what their capabilities were. And just, massive firepower. So anytime you got in contact, you're in the city, Mosul, and you just get boom. You could see the aircraft coming, from, the direction that they came from at the time. So you'd always be like, oh, it's going off all right. Hey, yeah, we're getting, some shit happening. And you just look over and be like, hey, yeah, okay, yeah, the aircraft are, 5 minutes out. I can see them,
Yeah.
and they can see me already, so you're already talking to them. And that kind of combat multiplier is something that, the infantry kind of deserves, that guy in contact deserves. He deserves
for sure.
all of those assets. He deserves the best because he's the one getting shot at, and going back to my first tour, right? So
right.
Mosul, Iraq, we were in the urban environment the whole time. Well, not the whole time, for the first 9 months. And it was fucking crazy. So when you probably heard some crazy stories, but our interpreters were getting murdered like fucking nuts. We'd go out on patrol and we found our interpreter with his head cut off, sitting on his chest on the bridge, our bridge that we took on patrol. What the fuck? That shit was happening. They had their intel down, which was, insane. At the time, it was the, you had, the tip of the Sunni triangle, and Mosul being at the north, you had Kurdistan, which is up there, which is the Kurdish people, which had their own militia. And we went out and supported those guys because they didn't attack us, except for when they did attack us, you know what I mean? Right. They had extreme guys in their organizations as well. A lot of what I did in Mosul, I've got to, do my job basically, so I got to learn a lot. And that's from experience, just getting to talk to aircraft, getting to shoot those missions. I got a lot of experience of, being on the mic and calling for fire, which, was cool. Then we went out to the desert in a place called Rawa. It was out in the Syrian desert. And we were looking for Zarqawi at the time, which he ended up getting, whacked by the same task force that we were out there with. But we were out in the desert nowhere, out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, just drinking water and eating MREs for 3 months, man. And we got so skinny. Dudes, when we went back to Mosul and went to the chow hall, dudes were like, whoa, what happened to those guys? We look like POWs, man. Just from not eating normal chow,
Oh, yeah.
Just eating MREs, man. It's brutal.
I was about 40 pounds lighter than I am now.
Right?
I think I went down to 155 at Keating.
Yeah, right? That's crazy, dude. Just eating. Yeah, you were out there and, not getting hot A's ever.
Yeah, once a week, and you couldn't have any of the milk products in your MRE because it was all curdled and nasty. The cheese was separated. I ate the crackers, and I would have, the little sausages or, beef jerky. It was about all I had.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah. So, I mean, I lived out in the desert for a little while, and it was crazy. But I did learn a lot, and yeah, that was old Mosul, man. And that was when it was OIF2. So when you come out the gate in Mosul, man, you're getting shot at. Right when we're in strikers. So you come out and ting, 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 you're getting shot. You're like, fucking for real? These dudes are trying to fucking kill me right now, And it was just, you were on your toes the whole time, which is good and bad, I definitely didn't get complacent. A lot of guys got complacent out there. I took leave real late, so I came back recharged out to the desert. But anyways, so yeah, that was my first tour, 1st Brigade 25th Infantry. out of Fort Lewis, and then I re-enlisted for Colorado when I was in Iraq, and I got Fort Carson, Colorado. And when I got the orders, I called an old battle buddy of mine named Ben Bradish, who was in the unit that I was going to, and he told me that we are already on orders to go to Baghdad, and so I wouldn't even be home a year from when I got back from my first tour. So I had to go from Fort Lewis to Fort Carson. I moved my family down there while my wife was pregnant, of course, and set up shop at Fort Carson. And at that time, it was 2nd Infantry Division. They had come from Korea, did a tour in Ramadi, and then got stationed at Fort Carson. And then we reflagged. When I got there, I was actually 19 Infantry, and then we reflagged to 361 right when I got there. So I was in the ceremony of us taking our crest off our berets that we just got, and we put the new crest on. So I'm an OG 361. They don't get more OG than me. I was in Charlie Company, Cold Blood, as a company fire support NCO again. And we deployed to Baghdad, Iraq. And as a company fire support NCO in Baghdad, you didn't get to do shit as far as your job because you couldn't shoot into the city at all. So we didn't get to use mortars in Baghdad. We didn't get to use, we talked to close combat aviation, but we didn't get to employ them. It was just, getting shot at, pop shots, getting blown up while you're driving down the street. It wasn't like a conventional fight like it was kind of in Mosul. In Mosul, they're kind of, 3 different factions coming out to fight you, for different reasons, who knows. But this was more organized, smart, on the enemy's part. And what we did was we ended up putting up a bunch of barricades, like the concrete barricades, like in the streets. Like that was the thing, dude. That's what we did. Like the whole tour is fucking stupid. I don't know why we did it, but we were right across from Sadr City was our sector, Rusafa district. But anyways, that's mostly what we did in and around Baghdad. Was just drive around in the sectors and fucking get blown up. We called them key leader engagements. You're trying to go into these mahallas and talk to people, the local people, and see what's going on and all that stuff. But you never get any good information, really, because they're, what do they have to gain by being, telling you anything? It's kind of like the cops, anything will be used against you. So Baghdad was definitely different. We moved out to the Madain Khada, which is kind of out, it's out east of Baghdad. Really remote. It was crazy. I didn't even know that that shit existed. It was weird. So we drive out to our sector out in the middle of nowhere, and we'd have these little bases, these combat outposts, basically, and we were really remote. I mean, you're further than your assets can support you. You're really out there on your own. And our sister cop that was across the river, they had gotten attacked, and they took dudes off the objective, man. They killed 4 guys. It was artillery guys too, but they got 2 guys off the actual compound. They're trying to kidnap them, and because that was the name of the game at the time. They're trying to get them a POW, because that's a high value target for them.
Sure.
And so we would get attacked, and it'd be fucking crazy. They're out of nowhere in the sticks, you just have these dudes shooting RPGs and shooting heavy machine guns at you from one location and then another location. Very, very smart in the way that they did their attacks. Anyways, it sucked. I didn't shoot my weapon once in Baghdad. Never fired my fucking gun one time in Baghdad.
Damn.
And that was the extended tour. So we did 15 months. So when we were there 6 months, man, like almost to the day, midnight chow. My guys were at midnight chow.
Right.
And they come back from midnight chow. They're like, Petraeus just said we're fucking extended, man. They pounded on my door. I was the first sergeant at the time. So in Cold Blood, when we were in Baghdad, my first sergeant went on leave. I'd made the promotion list. So I was the first sergeant when he was on leave. So I was the first sergeant. We got extended. So now we're there another 9 months. So we've been there 6 months. And now we just get told we're here for 9 more months. And I had one guy, Armando Avalos. He went on leave first. So he had to stay in country for over a year, you know, after he went on leave. So, you know, he went on leave, you know, the second month, and then it came back, and then we got extended. So he was there for, you know, no shit, over a year in Baghdad. Horrible decision making by the leaders at the time. It did not help at all. The surge in Baghdad, just more meat for the grinder. So what happened was the 82nd Infantry Airborne sent a whole brigade of dudes over, and then we all got extended. Everyone that was over there got extended another 3 months. So everyone's tour went from a year to 15 months overnight. Even guys that had landed with their, you know, back home, they got put right back on planes to go do 3 more months. Absolutely ridiculous. Is one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen the Army do, and it was because of you know, the Commander-in-Chief's policy, basically, that he came out with for the surge. Just got knee-jerk reaction. People that never been on the ground, don't know what the fuck's going on, made those decisions, and they absolutely got people killed. Yeah, it's just stupid politics, dumb. It had absolutely nothing to do with the fight, and it had everything to do with numbers. You know, there was no plan for the surge except for more people.
Right.
Surge of people. You know, that's more meat for the grinder. That's bullshit. That's not a plan. That's just fucking putting more people in harm's way is what you're doing. That's your plan. That's not. It's not a very good plan. If you would have said, "Here, Commander, you have twice the amount of combat power now. What is your plan?" You know, that's what should have happened. Instead, it was just, "Hey, these guys are coming in and they're going to take this sector now." You know, so our sectors got smaller, but it was totally fucked up. Anyways, so that was Baghdad. Baghdad was fucked. As a fire supporter, didn't get to do my job. I did a lot of command and control, talking on the radio, retrans. You know, I had to set up a retrans site, you know, for my company, and just sit out there, you know, with some snipers and, you know, a fucking squad size element, and we're fine. You know, I got communications, you know, I've got everything. I got control of artillery. I got priority of fires. You know, I'm good, safe. What people got put into these situations where they wouldn't have any backup but themselves, and what they're doing is a role they're playing that's not their intended role. So you have like a signal company, let's say, guarding a base, you know, like, no, why don't we have all infantry guys guarding the base? You know, I don't want the fucking signal guy in the tower, bro, ever. And that's what we went to. We went to, well, these people have to assume risk, you know, but they're not our best, you know, so why the fuck are we doing that? So we got hit at the gate with these horrible bombs. I'm not even gonna fucking mention what they are, because I don't even want anyone to know what they are. I want them not to exist. But we get hit with these bombs, and they're devastating. And we got hit right at the gate. Every time, right at the gate, like they could see it, you know? So it's like, what the fuck's going on at this gate? Well, we're not in charge of what goes on outside the gate. We're in control of the gate. What the fuck is that? You know? Like, that's the leader's answer when we got hit at the gate was, I'm in charge of the gate, not what's outside the gate. But you could see, like, someone set up a fucking bomb right there, man. Like, You're not taking responsibility for that? And no leader's going to hold you accountable for that? You know? Our guys got injured, you know? Someone could have got killed. And dudes did get killed, you know, right outside the gate. You know, but no one got held held accountable. So they didn't put their best in the fucking tower. You know, they put whoever they could. Oh, fucking Schnuffy up there. No, fuck, get your ass up there. You know, put an infantry guy on the fucking tower. I know it sucks. I know, you know, I hate fucking guard, but someone's got to do it, and it should be your best all the time. And dudes were getting caught, you know, blowing each other in the guard tower. You know, it's just ridiculous. So, you know, Baghdad, lame. Totally lame tour. Hated it. Fucking hated Baghdad. Hated Iraq. But yeah, so did that extended tour, and then stayed in the unit. Got promoted to sergeant first class, so I became the battalion fire support NCO, or the squadron fire support NCO. So basically a platoon sergeant for fire supporters, fisters. And that's where I met you, man. So I was platoon sergeant there, getting ready. We already knew we were going to Afghanistan. As a Cav squadron, you have a lot less guys. Each platoon only has, you know, 20 dudes. And then you take into consideration guys on leave and stuff. And, you know, you got like 16 guys, man, 16 Cav guys. And then you got some support dudes with you. And that's all you got.
Split them in half for patrols, and you're in eight-man patrols.
I was never a fan of the mission that we were given in Afghanistan. It should have been an infantry mission, even though it is a standard like screen, you know, for Cav. You know, this smart. If you look at it like, oh yeah, it's ridgeline. You know, okay, yeah, Cav scouts screen that shit. Okay, well, you need a lot more manpower if you're going to be out there. You know, so remote. So the sector that we went to up in the Kunar Valley, we already knew going into it that one of our OPs had been overrun. OP Bari Alai. Yep. That was the week before we deployed. And when we got there, that was the first order of business. They had their memorial for those guys. You know, so it was pretty crazy that, you know, we knew kind of where we were getting into. It was a really bad situation, but those guys,
it's funny,
those guys were set up for failure. Big time.
Oh yeah, I've seen the video.
Yeah, I mean, two Americans on the hill with a bunch of Afghans.
A Latvian chick and a bunch of Afghans. What were they thinking?
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Someone failed there, and it was kind of like your situation up there where they were moving people around, you know, at the time. And then air got cut off, so people got stranded, you know. So they had an infantry squad up there at the time, and they just pulled them off. So, you know, obviously inside job, Afghani's like, hey, they just pulled off the infantry guys. There's only 2 dudes here. Come on up. And then, you know, then they got whacked, dude. That's what happens, man. You know, it's too easy. 2 guys aren't going to be able to defend themselves against shit. That's why we have, you know, fucking squads and platoons and all that. So with the Cav guys, really small platoons in a real remote area. So when you're talking platoon, you're talking a half platoon that I'm used to in the infantry. And that's just what we had. And so even Charlie Troop, which is comprised of infantry company, which is only 2 platoons, but they made it into 3 platoons because of the mission, right? So they made their platoon smaller because they're in a Cav squadron, which I didn't agree with either. I would have just been like, nope, still 2 platoons, and give us the mission, and then we'll do it, you know?
Yeah.
Don't tell me, you know, and they had to make positions for other people too, you know, so now you have another platoon leader that's good, you know, now you have another platoon sergeant, more squad leaders, all that stuff, kind of numbers game. But then they started bringing over the Cav guys too, you know, into the infantry company, which I didn't agree with at all. You know, keep it separate. I thought, you know, it's different, you know, but whatever. Anyways, so in 361, when I was a platoon sergeant, battalion fire support NCO, deployed to Fort Bostic, and there we had artillery there, which supported all of our outposts, ranging roughly 30 kilometers, which is right at the range of where our furthest outpost was, which was Cop Keating. So we could shoot max range. You're talking your margin of error when you're shooting a 6-digit grid is 100 meters, right? Because you're giving that kind of coordinate. So it's going to give you within 100 meters, right? So if you're shooting 30 kilometers, that 100 meters of your 6-digit grid is fucking a click, you know? It's a kilometer, you know? So it's like, you know, being able to be accurate at that distance is very hard. But once you start shooting your guns at that area and they start landing and you can see it, then you can start adjusting and you can be pretty accurate if you're talking about area fires. But precision fires, no. I wouldn't trust a mission that far out unless I was completely out of the way. Because you are shooting with a rocket-assisted projectile, so it's a rocket on the end of an artillery round that's shooting. You know, the rocket engages and makes it propel further than it would with the regular composition that's coming out. Powder, right? So not accurate, right? And so I controlled from Bostic, I controlled the airspace as well. So all the aircraft that come in, because we're shooting artillery, they have to check in with us because we're shooting into their airspace. So the airspace is controlled. It's a restricted airspace. So basically like an air traffic controller, anything that comes into the area is going to contact me or one of my guys at the desk and ask us for permission and ask us what, if any, fire missions are going on so they don't get hit. And that goes for your aviation assets, your Kiowa Warriors and your Apaches. Because of the elevation that we were at, Kiowa Warriors could only make it to Bostic. They couldn't go any further north to where you guys were. It was only Apaches. So again, your combat power is degraded because of the elevation that we're at. And the elevation that we're at, we're above the tree grow zone. I don't remember what that shit's called. Tree line, yeah, dude, we're above that. So you can see, it's crazy being able to see the tree line, being like, okay, like nothing up above that can live. Like you can't breathe up there, you know. And then you gotta go up there. you're like, you can't live up here, but I'm up here. So Kiowa Warriors, when they check in, they can only go play with Cold Blood down there at the south, and then up to Bostic, and then we had a refueling point there, so the aircraft would come up there, refuel, and then take off. So anytime they come up to, let's say, to Keating, they'd have to come to us first, refuel, and then go, because it wouldn't be worth it for them to go up there, only have 2 minutes playtime, no shit, and then have to come back down and refuel, because they just traveled so far to get up there, coming all the way down from Jalalabad or Bagram. And then same thing with the CAS. Anything that checked in, you know, A-10 would check in. They check into airspace. They check into us, and then we would either pass that asset down if somebody was in contact to that ground commander, or to if we had a couple of JTACs at these different locations that we'd send aircraft to all the time. But you didn't have one up there, I don't think, huh?
No.
You never had a JTAC up there, I don't think.
We had one Air Force Staff Sergeant Camo guy, and he actually got an article written about him in the Air Force Times. He was the lone airman.
He was up there at the time? Camo guy?
Yeah, it was Matt McMurtry. He was the E6, E5, E6, I want to say.
I don't know.
They just sent him in the they set him in the aid station. He's got a whole write-up in the Air Force Times. It's pretty funny. I want to get him on the show. He was a goofy bastard.
Yeah. So Yeah, so I controlled a lot of assets, and I was also the one that would request those assets. So if you wanted aircraft for a mission or for a patrol you'd go on, you'd send the request through me, and I'd fill out this piece of paper, and based on the priority of the mission, you'd either get that asset or you wouldn't get that asset. So a normal patrol, a key leader engagement, you're going into the town of, let's say you're going into Kamdesh or whatever. What is that, Erbil? Those right next to you guys? Or yeah. So you're doing a local patrol right there. You're not going to get any assets, you know, and it's not because you don't need them. It's because of the mission. You're just doing a local patrol. You can use your own assets to support you. It's not that dangerous, right? So the priority goes to people in contact, right, for aircraft. So if someone's in contact, like Broken Arrow, right, you see it on the movies and shit, Broken Arrow, and then all the aircraft goes to the fucking people, right? So that's no shit how it happens. But they rack and stack priorities of missions. So let's say you're doing a raid, right? You're going after a high value target. Well, you're going to get that asset because he's a high value target. So his name is associated with that mission that you're trying to do. So I'm trying to get, you know, Zarqawi, you know, okay, hey, the mission's Zarqawi. Okay, Zarqawi's going to get the aircraft. And let's just say that there's 100 aircraft that are flying at any given moment around the whole world that have ordnance able to employ in your theater of operation, right? So they can reach out and touch it. And these assets don't necessarily have to be, you know, in Iraq. They could be in some area, and they can come over to you eventually to help you with your stack of aircraft. But once you, you know, get that aircraft on with you, you have that asset until he checks off or he gets prioritized something else. So let's say you're going on that raid for Zarqawi, you got that aircraft on with you. Somebody else is getting shot at, their aircraft goes away. And so that's how it's supposed to happen. And so when Bo Bergdahl, he walked off his combat outpost, and I listened to his interview. He did a podcast interview with some reporter, and his reasoning for leaving that outpost was to bring to light the toxic leadership that was at his outpost that he felt was going to get people killed. So he felt that he needed to do something. And what he did was he thought he was going to leave his outpost and walk to the bigger base, right? So he's going to leave the outpost and go to the or observation post and go to the combat outpost, right? That's what he thought he was going to do. He no shit thought he was just going to fucking, I'm just going to cruise down the street and I'll show them, because when they do accountability, I'm not going to fucking be there, right? But I'm going to be safe and sound at this other outpost. I'll be like, ha ha ha, you don't have accountability. Gotcha. Now they have to do an investigation on you, you know? Right. I mean, that's what he did, you know, that words from his own mouth. So he just did some dumb fucking private shit, and he wasn't the only dude who did it. So there's a non-publicized one dude who fucking went missing, same shit. He wrote a fucking dumbass note. He tried to fucking, like, he tried to fake the funk. He tried to, like, pretend he was Russian or some shit, like, by speaking gibberish to fucking people. He didn't make it far. He went out, and the Afghan National Guard guys were at an outpost, like, right there, and they snatched him up, and they called us, and they were like, who the fuck is this guy? He got a fucking redhead dude, you know? They got a ginger here at fucking, you know, at this checkpoint. Come get him, you know? So, I mean, it's not unique what he did. You know, right. People deserve it, you know, for different reasons. They think that they fucking know better, you know? They think that, oh, if I don't do this, then I'm going to die, or someone's going to die, you know?
We had all sorts of rumors floating around about him. Like a lot of people were saying, like, he had left to go attend a wedding or something and got snatched up.
So I got the no shit original reports, just like on that fucking ginger who walked down the street. The report was that he walked off voluntarily.
Right.
Right. He walked off the hill voluntarily, and that he was fraternizing with the guards up there, the Afghans, and he was most likely doing drugs with them. Right. That was the first initial shit we got, and that was from his platoon. You know, his platoon knew him. They're like, yeah, he's fucking talking to these Afghan guys, trying to be like them or whatever. He fucking hates us, you know, whatever. But when he did what he did, like, he was thinking he was, you know, righteous in what he was doing. You know,
Of course.
Yeah, of course. You know, he didn't mean any ill intent, of course. You know, but what he did was he fucked up big time. You know, because he was a private, and privates do dumb fucking shit because they don't know any better, and they think they do. You know, he really thought he was gonna make some change and do some better shit. And then what happened? He fucked up big time. So what he did by walking off his outpost, he became mission number one, priority mission number one. So every asset, every fucking dude that we got, everything that we can use to see, you know, so every UAV, everything went to that mission. Look for this fucking dude, which it should. You know, you're looking for a fucking American. What the fuck, dude? It's just like getting shot at. I should get all the assets, man. I'm the one that's in need. I'm the one getting shot at. So the priority went to him. So, you know, your mission that you fucking go on, you already know putting in for it is down here. But we kept putting in for it, you know, so, hey, at least we're in there. You know, we know we're not going to get the aircraft ever because, hey, let's say that, you know, they find Bergdahl. Okay, well, now who's next? Okay, now I get the aircraft. Cool, they found Bergdahl. Great, you know, and that's what we were all fucking waiting for. You know, find his fucking body, you know, so we can fucking move on. We didn't think he was going to be fucking alive, dude. No fucking way. No way did we think that dude was going to be alive. And so anyways, it took your standard assets that you would usually get away from you. You knew you weren't getting that shit. You knew you were only going to get it if you were in contact. And when you're in contact, then they were saying, because of rules engagement and assets, because of the Bergdahl thing, okay, is it effective? Are you taking effective contact? You know, so now you basically got to have a guy get shot or a guy get killed now to get a fucking aircraft, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, now we're waiting. Now we're just playing verbal judo, though, because I'm going to say first thing I'm going to say, hey, we're taking effective fucking fire. Give me that shit, you know? Because I'm not even there. You know, my boys are out there getting shot at. I'm just the guy that's trying to get them the thing. So I'm going to say whatever I can to get you the asset. I don't give a shit, you know? I'll be like, yeah, there's people hurt out there. I thought you said you took casualties. No, I said there's people hurt. You know? You know? I didn't say we're taking casualties. I said the people are hurt out there. Feelings are hurt because they don't have fucking aircraft. So because of where we're at remotely, it would take a long time for them to spin up aircraft that was on the ground to come out to us. And it'd take about 40 minutes from the ground. So, and that's a guy that's waiting on the ground in his cockpit that's ready, you know? And so usually you didn't have those guys anymore because those guys were already flying because all their missions are all taken up. So they don't get any hang out and wait for bad things to happen flight time now. You know, you always have a mission. So that fucks with their flight times, you know. And they're just spinning their wheels, you know, all day, you know, waiting, and nothing ever happens. And then they come out to you and they only got like 10, 20 minutes to play with you. So, you know, gathering that information and getting to them immediately before they're even on site, because you can do that, is key. And, you know, always will be key when you're talking about close air support, is giving them all the information so they can paint that picture for that pilot. So when he's coming in, he's ready to start bombing. So let's go ahead and talk. You want to talk about anything else about Bergdahl?
No, that's more than enough.
Okay, well, I'll say a couple things about Bo Bergdahl. He's a fucking traitor. and he's a deserter. So what he did was he deserted his men. The guys to his left and right that are sworn to protect his ass, he ditched those guys. So fuck him. I hope he rots in a cell. His actions directly contributed to the deaths of U.S. soldiers who were either looking for him or that didn't get assets because of him. And I'm definitely not blaming Keating on him, right? Whenever anybody dies, it's usually a series of mistakes that happen. And in Keating, I think that was definitely one of those things. So when we first knew that we were going into that sector, the first thing that our commander, our squadron commander, said that he wanted to do, and our brigade commander concurred, was close Keating. That's the first fucking thing we said. We didn't even want to occupy.
Right.
Didn't even want to occupy. We're like, fuck it. Let him just come off and give it to the fucking Afghans, dude. We won't even occupy that place. But, you know, orders are orders, dude. We had to go relieve those guys in place. So that's what happened. Should have never been there. Strategically, that held no fucking advantage at all. Our commander knew it. Commander never wanted to be there. And, you know, the guys that were reprimanded from this fucking thing were the dudes that didn't, you know, the leaders that didn't want to be there, you know, the guys that were like, yeah, I don't want to be here. Let's fucking get our guys out of here. Anyways. So, yeah, fucking Bo Bergdahl. Fucking dumbass fucking private. Fucking made the biggest fucking private mistake of all time. Fuck him. What else? Afghanistan. What else do you want to know?
Oh, you said you had
go through
story about the pizza man. Tell me the story about the pizza man first.
Oh,
the Croatian dude?
Yeah. What the fuck was his name, dude? Jerry or something?
I don't know, but he made some bomb ass pizza. That's all I knew.
Yeah. So midnight chow. I'll go back. I'll start. My first midnight chow was in Mosul, Iraq, in Fab Marez. Fab Marez was across from the airstrip, so it was the first place that I lived in combat, and their midnight chow was bomb, dude. I have not seen a better one yet. It was a huge ass tent, and there were Filipino guys working for KBR, Brown and Root or whatever. They spoke killer English, man, and they were like fucking professional chefs, dude. You know, killer. And they served the what's called the short order, right? So short order, they got hamburgers, you know, cheeseburgers, fries, you know, fried chicken, and they also have the grill, so they'll do omelets and stuff for midnight chow, and eggs and whatever. So I'd always have like egg burgers. It's kind of a thing that we always have in Korea. And these Filipino dudes, man, they made it so fucking killer midnight chow. So anytime that we had a chance, we'd always go midnight chow, fucking load up. It was the best meal of the day because you got to have breakfast, you got to have short order, you got to have whatever dinner leftovers there was from the day, you know. I loved it. So yeah, and then Mosul, that chow hall, December 21st, dude got bombed, dude. That blew up. Some dude, suicide bomber, went in there, fucking detonated, killed like 22 guys in our brigade. Horrible. My birthday, December 21st, right? Horrible. I wasn't there. I was out in sector when it happened. Some of my good friends were there. Fucking total horror story. And then when I went to Baghdad, December 21st, so my second birthday in combat, the boys in Cold Blood, they pink bellied the shit out of me, man. Bradish called on the radio to wish me a happy birthday. And then, you know, the word spread around the company, and they just fucking got me up on a stretcher, taped me to it, you know, and then just got to the pink bellies, dude, with a flip-flop, too. They had a flip-flop, man. Oh, man, that was brutal. Straight torture. But never felt more loved in my life, man, than, you know, being surrounded by my brothers on my birthday, you know what I mean? So, yeah, midnight chow. And fast forward, and then same thing in Baghdad, midnight chow, you'd always get sandwiches, man. That was like the biggest thing in Baghdad. It was fucking sandwiches. You could always get a sandwich at midnight chow. When we got sick, we got this real bad IBS thing, man. I went around. We called it Muhammad's Revenge. Only cure was sandwiches, dude. Just eat dry sandwiches, no mayonnaise, none of that shit. Just fucking meat and bread, dude. And shove it in your face.
I don't think I took a solid shit in Afghanistan.
Yeah, dude, and that's the reason, man. You needed to eat sandwiches, dude. They didn't have any baked bread out there. But yeah, and then get to Afghanistan. Fought Bostic. I walk in there. My last name's Kalich, which is of Croatian descent. However, it's Americanized. Added H onto the end. So he sees my name, and this dude, he looks like fucking Gargamel, if you're old enough to know. He's got a big fucking schnoz with a mole on his fucking nose, jet black hair, and he's like, "Hey, Kalich," you know. He's like, "Well, what the fuck," you know. He knows I'm Croatian, right? So he's like, fucking, like the food that he's got out isn't like good enough, you know. He's like looking around like, "Oh fuck, I got this. This is what's for chow right now," and I'm serving one of my bros, you know. And they had problems with the kitchen before, the unit before, you know, some fucking problem about the hours and stuff, like when they'd work and stuff. And this dude Jimmy, I think his name was Jimmy, he was in charge of all those dudes. So immediately, like the other leaders, they were like, "Oh, that dude's cool with dude. Oh, you guys are good then. You know, like you guys aren't gonna have any problems like we had, because the kitchen guy's fucking cool with one of your platoon sergeants, you know." But yeah, midnight chow there wasn't as good, dude, in Afghanistan.
But man, it's all I ever had. Frame reference, you know. I love the hell out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't as good. Like these Iraq ones were fucking. Those kitchens were, you know.
Yeah, even Bostic was pretty rustic compared to like the big fobs.
Yeah, but I mean, having that meal, man. I mean, there's nothing like having some hot chow, dude. Especially after doing some, you know, decent work. You know, my first sergeant always said that in Iraq, in Mosul. He'd say there's nothing like, you know, going on patrol, you know, kicking some ass, coming back, eat some chow, you know. Yeah, and it's good. You know, when you're winning, you know, you feel good, you know. And in Afghanistan, any day where someone didn't fucking die was a good day, because that place was unforgiving. You know, the terrain's real unforgiving. Like fucking dudes getting injured just walking around, and the elevation's brutal. But with you know, having hot chow right there, you know, fuck, dude, you can't beat it. You know, you're not roughing it if you have hot chow right there. You know, that's how I feel. It's like glorified camping, glamping. You know,
yeah.
That's having a good chow hall is like that in the Army, I think.
Yeah, dude, coming back from Keating to Bostic, it was like Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like what you got? Yeah. Coolers with soda in them, like
fucking toilets, dude.
Yeah, toilets.
Fucking toilets, man. Showers. You won't get fucking murked in, dude.
We would. I think I only showered 3 times at Keating because I was afraid this shit was going to kick off. Like I ain't going out there in my flip flops. You nuts? Nah, you can smell my ass. You know what I mean?
Yep, I'll fucking baby wipe it down, dude. I ain't gonna get fucking murdered in a shower, dude. No way, man. Yeah.
But yeah, we would drink like 80-degree sodas. You know, like nothing was ever cold. Freaking drinking mud water out of the river and shit.
Right. And you know that, you know, your bread and water is your lifeline, you know. And if you and it's a morale thing too, you know. I mean, like you said, it was like showing up at Disneyland. You're like, fucking all worries go away, dude. Fucking take a shower, take a shit. Oh, Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin. I walk into chow hall and he turns around. He's like, "Oh, hey man, I thought you were dead." I was like, "Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it."
Yeah. Well, actually, so let's go ahead and talk about it. We thought you were dead, man. All right. So October 3rd, I was the squadron fire support NTO for 361, and I was in charge of firing artillery in support of Battle of Kamdesh once it kicked off. I get woken up early. Battle kicked off early. And the way things go, anytime anyone's in contact, I get a phone call on the radio. So I get woken up, and I go to the Tactical Operations Center, and I do my job, which is coordinating assets for fire sport assets for the guys that are out there. And I also do base defense for Bostic. So on that day, I get called into the talk, and we're already shooting. And so that only happens when it's bad, you know. So usually the checks and balances systems, it goes through me, so it's safe, right? But the battle captain who's there, that guy can make that decision as well, to send that ordnance if it's needed, which in that case it was. So we were shooting in support of OP Fritchie, and that was the first time we'd ever shot for OP Fritchie. So that definitely got me worried. You know, I knew it was really, really, really bad if they were asking for artillery support. And I was talking to Jason Suter, who's the troop fire support NCO at Keating. He was the one directing the artillery for OP Fritchie. And so we shot in support of those guys until communications went down. We were shooting continuous fire out of two 155s, out of Fob Bostic, shooting Super 8. So big giant booms, boom, shooting the max ordnance.
Doesn't, if I recall correctly, one of those guns holds the record for the longest continuous fire? It's on the Fort Seal Museum, isn't it?
So we shot basically continuous fire to support the flank of Fritchie because they were being attacked from two different locations. And they were able to, because of the terrain and our mission and their actions on the ground, they're able to fend them off and not let them get close enough. But when you're the enemy and you start getting shot in the face and big explosions are happening, you tend to fucking not stick around. So we think that's one of the reasons why they kind of shifted their efforts, because at first, the first attack that we got was at Fritchie. That's what we heard. And Keating was also getting attacked, but for some reason, Fritchie was our focus. And I think the reason why is because Suter wanted to open up their guns up there, their mortars, to support them, support themselves and support Keating down there. And so that's what we did. And eventually the mortars up at Keating, or up at Fritchie, were up eventually. But that was our initial mission, was to try to give the mortars at OP Fritchie breathing room so they could shoot mortars for you guys and themselves. Because we knew that this was something that we'd never seen before as far as a coordinated attack goes in our area. It was the way that we communicated at the time. We knew it was different. So at Keating, you'd get attacked all the time, but it wasn't very long lasting, right?
Yeah, a lot of low level.
Yeah,
2 or 3 guys at a time.
3 guys, yeah, whatever. So this we knew was coordinated. We knew it was a massive attack. We knew it was really, really bad. So I started asking for assets immediately, right? Aircraft. They were, of course, already allocated to other missions. Bo Bergdahl, one of them. And I think the first aircraft we got on station was a couple of 16s, maybe.
We had 2 F-15s were the first ones to show up.
15s?
Yeah.
Yeah, were they 15 Eagles, maybe?
Yeah, F-15Es, the 2-seaters. They came in so freaking low. Like, because the mountains, like an aircraft could sneak right up on you, and you don't hear them until they crest the top of the mountain, so they would just come in screaming low. You thought it sounded like a freaking rocket coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. So when those guys finally got on station, and I think we might have even had we had some dumb shit on station before that. Like, once you call for and get aircraft, I think we only got aircraft once. We got the first report of like 4 guys were killed. You know, I think that's what it took to actually get the aircraft.
It felt like forever.
Yeah. I think it was once we got reports that people were killed, that's when the priority level went to, we're number 1 now. You know, and it was like a broken arrow scenario where we got every single asset that was flying. So we got like, these spy birds and shit, stuff that you didn't really want, so like, birds over jamming. Like, I don't want you to jam communication. What the fuck? Get out of the way. I'm dropping bombs, all I want is bombs. So after we got those 15s, I got a call from brigade, which was Christopher Clapp at the time, and he was like, "Hey, there's a bomber. You want a bomber? Are you gonna, are you gonna use a bomber? Do you need, is that something you need?" And I'm like, yes, that's what we need, dude. We need a fucking bomber, dude. Give me one of those, because those bomber has 18 bombs on it. So once we got that bad boy on station, really kind of the damage was done. It definitely reacting or not having those assets, it costs people lives. If once you have those assets on station, usually the fight's over, especially A-10s that are coming in low. The enemy usually shies away. But on that day, of course, they are there to fight. They wanted to fight. They wanted to win. So, they had their mission and they wanted to get onto the fucking outpost and fucking take it over. So when we were dropping bombs, we got the the priority of where you want your targets, right, from Case and Schroed, the company or the troop fire support officer. He was on the radio with me, and that was our last means of communication. So last effort from them to anybody was Case and Schroed talking to me on the tactical satellite radio, which was set up, I believe, by Black Knight 7. I think I heard that story that communication was the shit, and he set up the TACSAT. So without that, you guys would have been fucked big time, dude. You would have only gotten contact with assets once they got on station, and it would have been absolutely overwhelming because they would have just checked into your fucking platoon net and just been all over it. Because everyone and their brother wanted to come play, once shit kicks off. So once we got the bomber on, we were able to get a lot of targets executed and get some breathing room. We dropped a bomb right on your LZ right there. There was, we're sitting there watching in these feeds, and we could see people on the LZ, and I'm talking to Black Knight 7. I'm like, "Hey, are you sure you don't have anybody on your LZ?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm positive." I'm like, "Okay, I'm putting a bomb on that motherfucker. We're putting a bomb on your LZ, bro." Yeah, and so with that bomber that came on, we Winchestered it. So all the bombs came off the fucking all the bombs came off that aircraft, which is usually doesn't happen, but it that just tells you the what you guys needed down there. So every ordnance from every aircraft that checked on was dropped, except for the second bomber that we got on. We didn't drop every single bomb. We dropped most of them. But it was like a bombing campaign, So immediately we had to go to our graphics that we knew, because Kason was kind of talking in your guys' TRPs and codes, switchbacks, putting green, so it's like, oh, there's dudes on putting green. Okay, well, I'm grid to a putting green, so so now I have to wait for you to read off the fucking grid, so that was really frustrating. In that moment was not being able to execute a fire support task list, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which you should be able to do, and that's one of those things that we after the fact, one of the things that came out of it was no more TRPs, no more I don't care what a scout calls it, it's a target. If it's a target, it's a target, and give me the grid to it, and then put it on the list, target list. I don't care if it's the mosque, I want the grid to the mosque. That was another thing, like, hey, what's the grid to the mosque, dude? Why isn't that one of your targets? I'm gonna blow that motherfucker up. If you need to, that's why you target everything. So yeah, so we shot when we didn't have aircraft on station, and when we're waiting kind of for to find out what we're going to do, get you guys out of there, what the plan was, all that shit, get dudes up there. We just kept shooting continuous fire. And the reason being was that was like harassing and interdicting fires, H&I fires to call. We called them something else, area denial. We called them many things. But based on the ROE, we called it something. And then we put basically rounds all over the fucking place, from the eastern side of Fritchie, and then into the switchbacks, basically, is what we tried to do. And so during that time, we shot so many rounds that we basically broke one of the howitzers. The breech exploded, you could say, which isn't common, but it was that many rounds that came out. And then the other one turned like burnt. It turned like maroon color because so many rounds came out of it. The initial mission was 300 rounds, a little over 300 rounds, which a 100-round day is a huge day for an artillery section, a 2-gun section. So usually when we have a 100-round day, it's like a bad day, like, fuck, we did a lot of work today. And that day was 300 from Jump Street, just in the actual fighting in support of the fight. But we continued to fire after that and broke that one gun. And yeah, we shot more artillery than anybody in the world during that time frame. And that gun that broke is actually at Fort Sill. It's like a the
artillery museum, right?
Dude. Yeah, it's like a museum piece outside one of those places. Case and Schroed ended up being battery commander down there at Fort Sill. That's where he did his commander time. I got to see him down there when I was at ANOC or some shit. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, so that's what we did. Yeah, what else do you want to know about the actual battle itself, huh?
There's Spectre gunship on station too, right?
Yeah. So, like I was saying, with the whole rack and stack, everyone's going to come play. Got a AC-130 on station, and that asset's usually dedicated to special forces or anyone that's in that that special category, right? So again, we pulled that asset from a special forces mission. They usually have a spooky up. Actually, there is a spooky up. There's a spooky up right now. They're up 24/7. So wherever that guy was, we just pulled him from wherever he was on his mission, and he came and supported us. And they have a lot of playtime, so he was able to hang out.
Because I remember when a couple days later when we were exfilling, getting on the birds, it was so high up you could see it. It was the middle of the night. Yeah. You just saw the muzzle flash.
Yeah.
And it would just go constantly. And we were like, what the fuck is that thing? Isn't it going to be told us?
Yeah, and so those things are, again, such a combat multiplier. That's why those SF dudes, they won't go unless they have to. So that's go, no-go criteria for them. If that thing ain't flying, they ain't fucking going. And that's how it should be. That's how I would go,
Yeah.
if you're able to do so. But yeah, so yeah, the gunship, that thing checked on, and then I think we had 2. So we had continuous coverage for, I think it was like 3 days or some shit, while we did the exfil, and during the actual fight, like 12 or whatever hours. Then we had the first one station.
The exfil was pretty interesting because they're like, okay, first bird, Afghans are going. Like second bird, it's all the support guys, and then it's the other 2 platoons, and it was gonna be like every 10 minutes, and then they're like, red platoon, you're gonna have to wait like 45 minutes for the next bird to get there. So we're all sitting on the LZ, like 12 of us, like in the middle of the night, and Greg was freaking shitting bricks, and the LT had to tell him to shut the fuck up because he was like seeing bad guys everywhere. He was that kind of jumpy dude. But yeah, that was pretty that was pretty wild.
Yeah, so exfil, we had sent a engineer up there to rig everything to blow, right?
Nice job.
So, okay, I know this guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy, and he's really good at his job too. And I watched the whole thing, I was watching the whole expo. I was there the whole fucking time, and I'm watching this thing blow, right? And you're right. The aircraft is always all fucked up as far as who's going and the time frame and all that shit. Garbage. Is like a nail biter every time. I hated it. I think we're shooting, and so we would shoot. So these aircraft were scared because they all got shot at. So they didn't want to go, do this mission unless, okay, we need, fast movers on station, and they wanted us to shoot artillery. So in between these fucking lifts, we had to shoot artillery, dude. Like that was a fucking, you had to do it or they wouldn't fly. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna blow some shit up, dude. You know what I mean? So fucking, we're just shooting super, boom, boom. Like, all right, get out of the way. We're gonna shoot real quick. It's fucking insane, man. Whatever made him feel happy to come get you guys, I didn't give a shit. So, dude rigs up everything, and we're sitting there watching it. Stuff starts blowing up. We're like, cool. And then it comes to the fucking AHA, where all the ammo is, shit. Nothing. What the fuck? So it doesn't go. From like the whole thing doesn't go. And the dude's he gets back, and we show him the tape, and he's like, dude, there's no way. He's like, there's no way. He's like, no way. He's like, man, I must have really fucking, just not hooked that thing up at the end, It's like, that's the only way it didn't happen. So we had to blow it up, basically. So then it came on to me and the JTACs to come up with a plan to blow that thing up. So again, we get another bomber on station, and we just get to work trying to blow that thing up. And we dropped a bunch of bombs on it, dude, and it looked all gravy. And then we see dudes coming and getting all this shit, dude, and leaving. We're like, dude, well, how's this happening? And then so as they're getting the stuff and leaving, then we set up, we're gonna kill all these dudes, right? And again, assets, problems. Nobody, they were like, nah, we're not gonna do that. Like, the Air Force is with their ROEs like different or whatever. Yeah. They're like, oh, they're not doing anything. Like, what the fuck, dude? They're fucking taking all the ammo, dude. Those are dudes who just attacked their guys. Like, no, drop bombs on them. So we ended up getting, I think, 2 UAVs with
I heard the Predators hellfired the shit out of them while they were all celebrating outside the ammo supply dump.
Didn't do a great job with the hellfire. So hellfires, you know how it is, dude, right? It's different, right? So the fucking first shot hits like a tree that they're all standing in front of, and so I was like, fuck. So it wasn't the best, but at least it killed some dudes. Not all of them. If we would have had something else on station, you could have totally funneled them in and killed everybody. But, whatever. So they still got away with a bunch of ammo, which was not cool. Our commander was fucking so pissed at that. Because after, rigging up to blow and then us dropping bombs on it, still people were able to go in there and grab stuff out, And,
Dude,
and
the
we're
day before, we spent all day moving all the 120 mortars into a big pile, so it was like all to blow it up. And we're just
yeah,
like, we get on the bird and they're like, okay, it's gonna blow, and we're like looking out the window.
yeah. The most important one didn't blow. So he rigged up other shit to blow, and it did. But the most important one didn't go. And then we dropped bombs on it, and it still wasn't good enough because you drop bombs on bombs, and sometimes it just moves those bombs. It doesn't necessarily detonate those bombs, or destroy them enough to have the composition come out of them and ignite. So yeah, that was debacle.
So, prior to the battle, was there any squadron level intel that something like that was about to kick off, or was it that
so
just
the
saturated
guy
with
up
that
there-
kind of shit?
The guy up there, what was his name?
Which
The head guy up there in the Kamdesh.
Oh, I didn't.
Fuck, I forget his name, dude. Anyways,
Did
that
he get
guy.
did he get thrown out of a helicopter?
Mm-mm. No. So that dude, he was like the local guy, right? And then he teamed up with the Taliban dudes, or the Taliban guys came in and said, we're doing this. And he either complied with or helped and, fought alongside, or, did one of the attacks. Maybe he was the one at Fritchie or whatever. But that local dude, we were trying to negotiate with him, trying to talk to him about, fucking insurgency up there, because the Taliban would come in and do whatever they wanted, and he was just like a local guy who was like, "Oh, we're not Taliban, you can all fuck off," but he would attack us, because we were in his spot. We had intel on that dude, but as far as massing, we would hear that would happen, like, oh, there's going to be massing of 300 guys on OP Bar LI. We would get that. Oops. Are you still there? All right.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. We would get that intel all the time, where, hey, you're going to get attacked here, you're going to get attacked there, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And it never would be, so an attack at Keating that was through the intel channels, sure. Did we hear something like that was going to happen? Yeah, sure. We hear shit like that all the time, but specifically, that this is going to happen this time, like for real, like people from outside are here, because that's really what an influx of people from somewhere else is what that's real. Hey, fucking 200 people just showed up, into a small town. Okay, well, that's fucking not good, or it's a wedding, and then you show up and you're like, oh, it's a wedding. Or you're like, oh shit, these are fucking bunch of guys trying to kill us. So we didn't get any hard intel, or any good intel, I should say, that something like that was going to happen. And our intel wasn't good anyways, because they wouldn't talk to anybody.
We'd get random people coming to the gate saying that same shit 2 or 3 times a week. They're coming to kill you now,
Yeah. And then, one day they come. That same guy, when I went back to Afghanistan, they totally peace treated that guy, man. It was part of the whole, what the fuck they call it, man. They peace treated all the Taliban dudes, man. So they brought him to Bagram Airfield, and they were like, yeah, fucking peace, dude. They had to go back up there, actually. So when I went back to Afghanistan, they had to go to the Kamdesh. They had to save that guy. They had to save the Kamdesh dude from the Taliban. Isn't that fucking insane?
Yeah.
So they flew up there, and they came and they asked me all this shit, because that planner was up there. And he was like, oh yeah, fucking Keating. And I brought over Bradish, he was over in 361, so to talk to the planner. And SF went up there, and they're fucking just shooting dudes like crazy. The dudes were dressed up as like chicks, using kids as like, fucking hiding behind them and shit. And they basically took over Kamdesh. And so dude called up and said, hey, they took over, fucking come help. SF went out there and just started murking dudes. They spent like 30 days up there, man. They killed so many people. It was insane.
Yeah,
It
well,
was like
they
70
when
something dudes, man.
they QRF'd up to Fritchie, and they were just whacking dudes left and right
Yeah.
the day after.
When they went up to Fritchie, they didn't run into much contact in the switchbacks. Well, on their way down to, they ran into 2 guys basically.
Yeah. The SF guys didn't come down with that. Was the Chosen Company.
Yeah.
That guy got the pistol kill, the machine gunner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
so, by the time those dudes get there, the damage is kind of done. I wanted them to go up there a lot sooner. It was the aircraft actually that did not want to fucking fly up there. And then we told them, hey, Fritchie is secure enough to fucking land there, like they're not taking contact anymore. They'll fucking start flying up there. And they're like, nope. Yeah, they were really hesitant on going up there for a long time. We had a bunch of dudes at Bostic, like fucking hundreds of dudes just standing there. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Fucking dumb.
Didn't a couple Apaches come back on one engine?
Yeah, the Apaches totally got shot up. So none of those teams had their integrity when they came back. So of the 6 that went up there, all of them got hit, and they could only make two birds after that as a fucking team. That's all they had, because they had so many birds go down because they got shot right in their engines, but they were taking a lot of bullets. That's why. So yeah, again, combat power went down when the Apaches couldn't fly. We only had 2 Apaches, and so your Chinooks won't fly without Apache escort, and then we had to have fucking fast movers too, so we had to have everything set to be able to get guys up there to get guys up there. They just wouldn't do it, and it's crazy to think like, oh, you won't go up there, but we've had guys up there for fucking 9 months, dude.
Yeah.
You won't go up there unless you have all this shit, but our guys are up there and they've been up there with nothing for fucking ever, so what does that tell you? You're not important. That's what it says.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that was the pervasive feeling at Cobb Keating for sure.
Yeah. You're forgotten. No one cares about you.
Yeah, it never gets any better was our platoon slogan.
Right, never gets any better. Yeah.
The captain freaking banned it. He wouldn't let. We painted on all the vehicles and shit. And he's like, I don't want to ever see that shit again. And they brought those Xboxes and all those DJ heroes. He's like, Red Platoon likes to say it never gets any better, but I say it does get better. Here's an Xbox. We're just. We were convinced Stony Portis was trying to get us killed. All his harebrained ideas, the Zodiac missions he was going to do, and like when we went to the O.P. Jameson incident, you know what I mean? He's like, instead of bringing 450 cals, let's take a fucking tow missile, just in case a T-34 comes rolling off the top of the mountain. Sounds like,
right.
What the fuck are we going to do with that thing? He was a goofball, dude.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. I was just a Joe. I didn't know shit, but I'm like, what are we going to do with a goddamn tow missile?
Oh, and that's the thing too. Like these, a lot of these leaders, they're young, and they get thrown in these positions, and they don't know what they're doing, so they're just winging it, And so they think of, hey, let's bring this fucking giant missile. Why? Why? And I'm the kind of guy I'm like, no, no, I'm not carrying that. My guys are not carrying that. No. They
gave us so much shit to carry. That's how we got fucked up. They gave us so much shit to carry. Nobody could pull guard if we had to get on the bird fast. Everybody had to put their gun down and grab, this bullshit gear.
Help me carry this. Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah. Dumb.
I had a freaking backpack full of det cord for whatever reason. Like
det cord, yeah. What are you breaching, dude? What the fuck are you breaching? A cave? Caves don't have doors, bro. Caves
and the hill was like this and the bird was like this, so I had my big ass whip antenna, of course. I had to grab the stretcher with one hand, bend my antenna down so it didn't eat the rotors, and crawl out on my knees out the back. It was freaking stupid. That whole mission was eight up.
Yeah. Fucking dumb. Yeah. But, I mean, you can't just sit there and do nothing, you know?
Yeah.
You can't sit there and do no mission at all, or you can't keep doing the same missions. So it is kind of good to switch it up, but putting yourself in an even worse position than you're already in is fucking super dumb. But again, you know, hindsight, all that, you know, fuck. There's a lot of shit I'd do different for sure. But as far as the battle goes, you know, having your assets there would have saved lives for sure. But I think the initial barrage was enough to kill fucking, you know, the guys.
The first 4 dudes we lost within 10 minutes. I mean, there was nothing.
So yeah,
there's that.
Yeah.
Scusa, like we had our you know, our plan, our tick plan. Thompson runs out to his machine gun, killed immediately. Scusa opens up the door and walks out and gets shot right in the neck. I go out to my position, and I normally would grab the radio, but like Kirk, I could see it on his fucking face. Like he's like, grab the AT-4. I'm like, okay. And we run out there. He got hit immediately, you know. And then the rest of the guys were out trapped in the truck. Like most of by the time the birds got there, like rotary wing, we had already started, you know, doing the rotated his push out maneuver, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we didn't make it easy on them, that's for sure.
Right.
It was just tactically screwed.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like once they're on you too, it's like okay, well, our artillery's not going to do anything for you now, you know.
Yeah, we didn't even get a mortar off.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do, you know? You gotta fight with what you got and fucking.
Oh yeah, I became a 240 Bravo gunner out of nowhere, you know. Like I hadn't shot one since basic training. I'm like, I kind of know how this works, and just
better than an Afghani with the fucking thing.
Yeah. All those guys freaking dipped out. I saw the Taliban video, and I'm like, when they were surrendering to the Taliban or ANA guys, the Taliban didn't even take their guns from them. Like, recognize that, dude. Recognize that, dude.
Yeah, they're just like, keep walking. Yep. Yeah.
Change their clothes and turn around, you know.
Yep. So yeah, Afghanistan. Let's see what else about Afghanistan. So I turned around and went right back to Afghanistan with 4ID brigade. Just did a 9-month tour there in Bagram airfield. Fucking thought I was safe there, man. So that place, you're at the airfield, you're at the brigade level, you're not, going on daily patrols or anything like that. So you feel pretty safe. And up until that point, I never lost a dude. So I've had hundreds of dudes under me and never lost one until 2012, August 8th. Suicide bomber killed my boss, the brigade fire support officer, Thomas Kennedy. In that, also our command sergeant major Kevin Griffin also died, and our ALO from the 13th Air Squadron there at Fort Carson, David Gray. He was also killed.
Air liaison officer.
Yeah, air liaison officer. Yeah, our Air Force guy. So the JTAC's boss, man. So I knew DG. We fucking did training for, the year and a half before we deployed. He was the ALO. And yeah, man, crazy. Suicide bomber. Dudes were going to a meeting, fucking with our brigade commander and all of these other dudes. Flo Florence Groberg, he received the Medal of Honor for his actions that day. He was the PSD's platoon leader. And it just goes to show you, you know, you're never safe. Doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. I know a lot of people talk about, you know, Bostic, you know, like, oh, that was like, you know, a safe place or whatever. And because of the standoff, the distance that we had, it was pretty safe. And we had, you know, artillery guns and a decent amount of firepower, a FARP there. So you had aircraft coming in and out. So it was defendable, you know, because we had all those assets there. Then we couldn't get, you know, very close to, you know, effectively engage us. And they definitely couldn't just walk right onto the fucking outpost. But when we left, when I was back there in Afghanistan, when I was at Bagram as a brigade guy, Boston got hit. The fire point got hit with the B-10, and it killed two gun dogs there. You know, so it's one of those things where, you know, oh yeah, Bostic's safe or whatever, but you never know, man. You know.
Yeah, our first, the first time I pulled guard at Bostic at Tower 1 there with Avalos, freaking rocket. That's when that rocket came in and hit the LZ.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. See, we hadn't gotten a rocket there the whole time.
Yeah, well, they knew Red Platoon was there too.
Yeah, right. But they knew something was up. They knew a bunch of people were there and all that, you know. And I did the crater analysis on that thing, and it came from, you know, that ridge line that was right there, you know, the Hindu Kush Mountains, dude, you know.
Right.
Or,
OP
you know,
Mustang and shit was that ridge?
Yep, exactly, you know. So, you know, we knew it was up, and we knew that they could only affect us from there, and that's where that fatal shot from that B-10 came from, that hit those guys.
That's a hell of a shot for a B-10.
Well, it went into the ammo and fucking blew it up, you know. So it was a lucky shot, but you know, it's one of those things that happen. You know, you're never safe anywhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, like when we ripped out, I went back with AV Avalos, and we got to Jaff. Jaff got rocketed. Everybody's screaming and like, run a hard shelter. We're just in the smoke shack, like, no,
right.
And then we get to Bagram, and that's when those dudes dressed up in ACUs and infiltrated the gate, shot a couple people, and we're like, the Apaches are doing gun runs on Bagram. I'm like, well, are we gonna get attacked at Manus too? You
right.
know what I mean?
Hey, and then when I was at Manus, dude, I don't know which one it was, but they had a civil uprising, dude, right outside the gate.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Fucking insane. Yeah. So, and again, we didn't have any, you know, rounds. I was like, dude, what the fuck? But yeah. So yeah, went back, did another tour of Afghanistan. So that's 4. Ended up getting on orders to West Point. So my boss was Tom Kennedy was a West Point guy. He had just come from there. He did he was staff, and so he got me a job there. I only knew him 2 weeks. He was my boss for 2 weeks before he died on his first patrol. Got me a job, West Point. Cool gig. Retired out of there. And after I retired, I moved back to Colorado Springs, where I had a house. And moved to California, back to my family after that. And then now I'm back here in Vegas. It's because that's where I wanted to live, man. I decided, you know, I could live anywhere as long as I had a job, you know. And I think it's a good place to link up with the brothers, you know. Dudes are always coming through Vegas, so I get to see them every time they come through, even if it's just, you know, at the airport. I don't care. I'll just come, you know, crash their kids' Little League baseball game like I did in Colorado Springs. Anything to see you guys, you know. It's good to see and good to, you know, fucking talk to you guys, you know. I think veterans kind of need that. We're a different breed. Since Afghanistan, when I was platoon sergeant there, we had a card game going, like, you know, some of the senior leaders and shit. And at that card game, 2 of the guys killed themselves since that deployment. You know, out of like, you know, 7 guys sitting at the table, 2 of them killed themselves. Fucking crazy. And they did it same month, you know. One of them was doing some foul shit too. You know him from
Oh,
Broncos.
Jacobs?
Yeah. So, you know, I knew that guy. I knew Jeff. Our kids went to the same school. We went to the fucking, you know, we're social together, you know, play cards together. I knew him before he got hit. And I knew him after he got hit. And after he got hit, he was different, man. You know, he would talk about himself, you know, talk about how ugly he was. His face was all fucked up, you know. He talked about his wife like, you know, well, no one else is going to want me now, you know, because of my fucking face, you know, so I've got to stay with this chick. But when dudes get head injuries, you know, especially sometimes they go crazy, you know, and it doesn't mean that it's like they're lifelong pieces of shit. But, you know, at the end of his life, he did some foul shit, which, you know, he probably should have fucking killed himself for, you know. It would have been nice, or would have been nice. It would have been better if he would have just fessed up and maybe talked about why he did things he did. And maybe, you know, maybe we can get some answers on why men do the things they do. But I'll tell you that he wasn't, you know, he wasn't a fucking just walking around being a rapist, you know, all the time. But at the end of his life, he definitely was doing that. And it's fucked up, you know, but, you know, so that's that. And the other dude is an officer. Oh, Gary. He was our XO for HHT. And then I don't know what he did after that. Gary Clark. I don't know if you knew him. Yeah. But yeah, him too. So was it December 2019? 2018? Yeah, same month. So it's real, you know. And, you know, I think those guys just felt like they, you know, they had to do what they had to do. You know, they didn't fucking think very highly of themselves, which sucks, you know. So don't fucking kill yourself, Colin Knight.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's
fucking do it, buddy. Don't fucking do it.
We haven't lost, Red Platoon hasn't lost a single guy to suicide.
Yeah, so my first tour, we didn't lose anybody until we got back, you know. And then I think at least 2 committed suicide. Actually, no, it's 3 now. We had 1 commit suicide this year too.
Faulkner OD'd.
Yeah. And we had, you know, a guy in cold blood shoot himself that may or may not have been an accident, you know. You know, and Faulkner, one of the things that I want to do is get accountability of everybody, you know, to make sure that they're fucking alive, see who's alive, you know. And that's it's hard to do because everyone's numbers change and all that shit. But like social media, only so many people are on social media, you know. And so it's hard to get connected with the guys who are off the radar now, you know. So
we have a group chat going, group text message, the whole platoon. And I went to a book signing with Romache, and this lady I was at the dinner table with, she's like, I'm a private investigator. If there's anybody you can't find, let me know.
Oh, cool.
So nobody, if you're in the continental I mean, if you're in the United States, you can't hide from me. Like, I've tracked people down who didn't want to get found.
Cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, I want to find my first driver. And you find Donald Schultz. You find Donald Schultz of Newark. He was my driver in Mosel in the 25th. He was Newark, New Jersey. That dude fell off the radar.
Yeah, Bittiscombe.
Found you. Biddy.
I found him.
He
lives in Texas.
Yeah.
I tried calling him. He's like, don't ever talk to me again.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He's like super, like, just pissed about something.
Wow. Probably because I put a Willie Pete round on him. Probably fucked him up.
For real?
Yeah, I put a smoke round right on top of his fucking OP, dude. Again, you know, like, we're shooting max range for smoke, right? So there's no wrap for smoke or nothing. So you're shooting max range down at OP Bar LI. And sometimes, you know, those canisters go short, you know, or they open up early. and I fucking put one right on Biddy's fucking shit. Just smoked him out. He had to like leave the OP because it was fucking just totally put smoke on his position. It was a fucked up mission.
That smoke mission we were doing clip overwatch in Zenger Bochet, and we're all getting back on the trucks, and we're getting on the trucks like we're running through as the canisters are dropping all around you and smoke truck. We're like, this is awesome. That was one of the best fucking smoke missions. It was super effective too. It smoked. It was just perfect.
That's what I said.
Wind and everything.
That's what I said. I got yelled at like a motherfucker for that, and I'm like, hey, did anyone get hurt?
No, that was freaking righteous.
Could they see our guys? No? Okay. Did they even get shot at? No? Oh, okay. Effective.
Yeah, that was fucking epic.
Screen-friendly movement. Fucking check. Yeah, a couple missions got fucked up. One smoke mission down there in Saw, I think it was your company too, or your troop. We like hit a cow and burned up a bunch of shit. Oh no, it wasn't your company. It was Cold Blood. So yeah, they like grew their wheat and they were drying it out on their roofs, and we sent a smoke mission down there again, clip overwash, and just set everything on fire, dude. And like we had to pay fucking hundreds of $1,000s for all their crops and shit. Man, the SCO fucking chewed my ass. He was like, "What the fuck? How do you fucking do that? Like, how does that even happen?" He was like, "You need to explain to me how this is possible." Because he was like, "Is this bullshit? They're just saying that shit's, we ruined their shit for no reason." I was like, "Nah, that shit's on fire, man. We fucking, we fucked up." Oh well, none of our guys got hurt that time. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think got about 2 hours worth. I think they were good. Appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
You too, buddy. I'll stop the recording. You shoot the shit if you want.
Yeah, right on.
Not to.